This is as groovy as it gets.
Oprah, Can You Hear Me? Oprah vs. Donald 2020 is a conversation by Julie Benetti and Susan Barbaro and a production of EI Alliance, copyright 2019. America is courtesy of New Threads off their new album, Felonious Wilma.
Hi, this is Julie. I'm here with Susan, and we're back quickly after our last podcast we did, What's Oprah Planning? Because the energy kept continuing. So I wanted to go a little deeper because something also made me pop to Dr. Maya Angelou. And I know she was close with Oprah. And so I was looking around at that, and then I just Googled, why does Oprah have to run? Because I was just curious what would come up. And I happened to come across a February 28th article from last year, I think from Huffington Post, about that one condition that we talked about before, where Oprah was looking for a sign, which could be this podcast.
Which everybody was making a point, I think, was it Jimmy Kimmel that she was on? And
looking for a sign.
Yeah.
Oh, really? I didn't see that. Okay. But again, I said, which could be this podcast.
Right.
That she was looking for a sign, and she was, kind of talking about how wealthy billionaires had called her up and said, I can get you $1 billion to run your campaign. And after her speech at the Golden Globes, people were really interested, which we know all this. We've talked about it in past podcasts, and that the article had said Oprah went into prayer. And she said, if she's supposed to run, she wanted a sign. And it's funny because the article says, as Oprah has already said, running for president is something she's not interested in doing. And you know how I hear things differently. And so the sentence says running for president is something she's not interested in doing. It doesn't say being president is not something she's interested in doing. So Oprah, come on folks, Oprah is Oprah. Why does she even have to run for president? That started making me think. From our last podcast, career politicians go through all the motions. I mean, we're all used to it. However old you are, you grow up learning and seeing and experiencing.
The exploratory is you set up the committee, and then you start going out and raising money and start,
blah, blah. Right. To be a career politician. Again, we've said expressively, President Trump was not a career politician. Oprah, of course, is not a career politician.
And I'm going to go one stretch further. And she has gotten signs. She has gotten signs. We don't even know her personal life. But when you look out and you see everything that's going on, even just what happened with, I think, CBS.
Right.
Everything's being turned over.
Right.
And if she's looking for a sign, she's gotten signs.
Right.
She's gotten signs. Even seeing the woman with Oprah 2020, she's been on. Everybody's asking her. She's gotten signs.
Right. And
so I think that's not a true statement anymore. She has.
And it's funny. It was terrible because it makes me think of that story that everybody knows that's always told about the guy on the roof saying he's waiting, asking God to help him, and a helicopter or whatever comes, the boat
there's
comes.
There's a flood,
and
he's on his roof, and it's terrible considering all the tragedies that have happened. But just spare me a moment. And he's on his roof, and there's a flood, and a helicopter goes by and says, "Do you need help?" No, God will save me. And then a guy in a rowboat goes by, and do you want some help? No, God will save me. And then what ends up happening is the flood's overcome and he dies. And he goes and he says to God, "What happened? You're supposed to save me. What do you think the helicopter was? What do you think the rowboat was?" It's like, come on.
So are we going to say, Oprah, what do you think this podcast is?
I know.
That's funny because we really are in the energy, and we're investigating the energy. And
I just want to say one thing to what you're saying, that you and I have also got some other things that we would like to express, but we're trying to be true to the energy, and a lot of it is our speculation beyond things that we pick up, and it's like, I don't want to say certain things because we're trying to be very true just to the energy, so it's going to keep poking at us to say what we say, And we're not going to go beyond that. We're being very true, and that's what our goal is. We're not that's where we're going.
And we don't have any inside, information or anything like that. And in actuality, the reason why I said, hey, we got to do another podcast on this was because we were trying to figure out the title for the last one. A lot of times we go in, we record it, and I'm like, hey, I got some energy here. Let's just talk about it.
Right.
And we go in cold, not knowing what we're both going to say. And you were kind of throwing around, when Oprah is going to run. And I was like, when? And then when you said when, I just went to Dr. Maya Angelou, and I went to, when's her birthday? And I went to, what date would you choose if you wanted to do something and announce something?
Wouldn't that be a celebration
really
of her life?
Amazing, yes. And your friendship with her and how much...
I mean, she was very big in the, in Black rights civil movement.
Yes.
And what way to, but again, this is
what a cool energy of a woman too. I mean, and their friendship and whatever. And so that, just because, and I'm going to say, not to throw it in your direction, but because you said when, and me, I'm just open to the energy and what comes.
Right.
I have no vested interest in any of this, except where the energy is related.
Right.
And I'm intrigued and interested in what we come up with. And when that came into my, presence, I was like, and it led me to Dr. Angelou. And then I looked up to see her birthday, and I was like, that would be interesting.
But I think we do have a vested interest. And the vested interest isn't because we're women, we're not women of color, but we are women. And, I don't think it's a situation of, we need a woman president, we want to be alive, we want to see it, because in my mind, I've already seen it. We can see it. I think what it is by Oprah, and I'll give Trump credit for starting this, but this is a huge movement of energy across the planet.
Yes.
So by Oprah doing this, and it's not about, we have to push Oprah because she's going to create something, but I think it's a representation of a whole change in guard, if I use that terrible phrase, but it really represents a change. A powerful Black woman president is to step in that space, because I think she has been in enough situations, and of course, here's my stupid little observation or my judgment. I think she really can look at a situation and kind of cross all barriers. I know she is Black, she is a woman, but I don't think that is how she defines herself. I think she looks beyond all of that and just sees the situation for where it is. And that Trump started by getting away from the career politicians, the boring, same old, it's time for change. And Trump, I think, started that. But, we need something a little bit more than that.
Right. And he's opened up the arenas around the whole sphere of being president for huge, vast changes, yet, it's not where Oprah, can come in, yet, it's not like the whole system is toppled in that sense.
Everything is. Like we were talking about the self-publishing is now out there, self-recording, all the big industry standards are now being broken down.
Right.
You can publish a book on your own.
You don't need a big publisher.
You don't need a big publisher.
Right.
You do not need a big record company.
Right.
You don't need, I'm trying to think of any other, that's the only two things, of course, that I think of. But you don't need it now with politics either. You don't need to be the career politician and follow the certain rules.
That's funny because you make me think of the do-it-yourself industry. It's like, now you can fix your own toilet. You can fix your own sink. Now you can be your own president. It's like, do it yourself, sure.
Yeah. Yeah, there's something to that. So it'll be interesting. So what's your, do I want to say prediction?
Well, it's not really a prediction, but when you tried to pivot down our last podcast and we were looking for the title, which, then we came up with What's Oprah Planning, or you did, but you started with when. And, as humans, and, I go into this because I love time, I love Doctor Who, I love time travel, I love the idea of it and how man makes time and how we let it control us and how we can control it and what we can do with it and our perceptions and everything, blah, blah, blah. I could go on and on, but I'm not going to. And so when you said when, it just completely shot me to time. And I thought, well, what would be reflective of time? And then I did pop onto Oprah's website. I don't really go there, but I went there for some reason, and I saw a picture of her and Dr. Maya Angelou, and I just went, wow. And they just looked so, together, like a great friendship.
Who was the most political person she would have known? Maya Angelou. She was very political. She didn't run, but she was very involved in civil rights.
She did that beautiful
civil
poem.
Unrest and
Clintons. Yeah, she did that beautiful poem. So there's a connection right there.
Right.
Yeah. And so, I just saw the energy of that. And for some reason, when you said when, boom, her face popped into my head, and I thought, I'm looking up her birth date.
And it was so smart when you looked at that statement, and she said, I haven't gotten assigned to run for president.
Yeah.
And exactly, does she have to run?
Running for president is something she's not interested in doing. And that's great because, a lot of times we say that, well, I'm not interested in doing this. But if you really listen to your words, running for president, and President Trump, just completely changed the whole landscape of how you run for president. I mean, he was elected already as president, and he's out doing rallies to run for 2020 when he hasn't even started 100 days.
And we said, based on the political landscape, that our prediction is that he won't even go to the debates.
Unless there's someone interesting there.
Well, unless there's someone who will challenge him and someone who could
boost the ratings with him. Yeah, because it's all about ratings. I even think about when the Apprentice show went to Arnold Schwarzenegger, and there was the little fight they were having, and it's like he's the president and he's fighting with Arnold Schwarzenegger about ratings, so he's still thinking ratings. And I guess if you're born and bred in that kind of, he's been in that industry with the Apprentice. And Oprah has been for how long? I mean, isn't that a natural thing? You think of ratings? We think of energy because we're in the energy.
I keep thinking too that this is she's older than us too. So I heard something a study that you're your most creative in your 20s. I think they said early 20s and mid 50s. So she's been creative. I think it gets to a point where, if I were going to use that to say in your 50s, you're your most creative. When you hit 60, then it's just coming into your own with complete power and understanding and self-confidence of who you are. And I just think for myself, where I am in my life and I'm projecting, I love challenges. I love a challenge, not to go and but not to go and fight somebody and go and argue with someone, but someone who's going to force me to find more of who I am. That to me is the greatest challenge. I have to believe Oprah must be in that space.
Right, and then exactly, and you have all of that, and don't you want to share it?
Right.
Don't you want to share what you learned?
Yep.
And don't you want to put it into practice? And again, we've talked in past podcasts about the reason why we're doing this is because it is about us. It's about all of us. Across the globe, it's about all of us. And don't you want to take what you've learned, what you've lived, what you've realized, and share it?
You do.
Everywhere. And what better place to do that than as President of the United States? So, Oprah?
Thank you for listening to this production from EI Alliance. Check out our Amazon authors pages for books and podcasts, along with our Donald Trump and Oprah books for this series. Find great music by New Threads on iTunes, Spotify, and on newthreads.us.